I'm Andreas Wiseman, as Joe just said. This panel we have coming up for you is one of the real buzz movies of the awards season. Michael Mann's Ferrari, starring Adam Driver, Penelope Cruz, Shailene Woodley, set over the summer of 1957, and with Enzo Ferrari's auto empire in crisis, the film sees the ex-racer turned entrepreneur pushing himself and his drivers to the edge as they launch into the Mille Miglia, which is a treacherous 1,000-mile race across Italy. The perilous race unfolds as Ferrari's own turbulent marriage and extramarital relationships reach a crescendo. With me on the panel to discuss this film are the great Michael Mann, four-time Oscar nominee known for classics such as The Last of the Mohicans, Heat, Collateral, the Miami Vice series and movie, and many, many more. Also with us today are Maria Jerkovic. Maria is the Oscar-nominated production designer known for such films as Billy Elliot, Mamma Mia, Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, The Imitation Game, and Red Sparrow, and many others. Also today with us, we have our Oscar-winning cinematographer, Eric Messerschmidt. Glutton for punishment, this is his second panel today. And Eric, as you will have heard earlier, is well known for Mank, David Fincher's The Killer, which he was already talking about, and David's also his series Mindhunter, as well as the high-flying action war movie Devotion. We're going to talk about the incredible 2 decades journey behind this movie, but maybe because she wasn't in Venice herself because of the strike to talk about the movie, maybe you can just say something about the process of working with Penelope Cruz and how she inhabited the emotion of that character, Lina Ladi.
It's whether Penelope or Adam, the process is the same for me. It's a deep dive in the character, primarily in pre-production during all the work we do in preparation, which I always take to a certain advanced point, but not ever doing rehearsals, for example, to the point where I wish I would have shot it. I want that to happen spontaneously on, when I'm shooting. But with Penelope was getting into the quintessence of who Lara was, and that gets you into the discussion about the power of this film to hold my attention for so long, for so many years, and she's a duality, and Enzo's a duality, and the two of them together exist in this very unorthodox relationship where they're attracted to each other and bound together and repelled by each other, all simultaneously, all on stream. So with Penelope, it was very much understanding the deep belief system that Lara had. Her convictions are very strong. And right now, in this scene, she's locked in a prison of mourning and has no future and will live out her life that way. But she has total belief in her reactions and her condemnation of Enzo. Enzo's in the present and is only relating to the future, whether it's technology or cars, and and so the two of them constitute this couple who both can't live together, can't live apart. And one of the things that's not in this scene, I'll talk about it anyway. Penelope and I went to the apartment and the bedroom that Lara spent the last year and a half of her life in. And there was a particular strange wallpaper that we replicated, but the walk, we spent a lot of time with her doctor, who was both a doctor for Enzo and Lara, and told us a lot about her. I have to bring an actor in working with someone like Penelope into character, which is about how she sees the world, how she breathes, how she walks, how she talks, when she walks into the room, what does she look at? So it's all of that.
It's all of that. And you mentioned there that this was something that kept your attention for a very long time, this movie. Two decades, yeah. This movie was gestating, and you were trying to put it together in different guises. What was it that kept you across those 2 decades? And was there a time where you thought maybe this movie wasn't going to happen?
There was numerous times where I thought this is an impossible film to make, and do I really want to option the underlying book yet again? And then I would go back and reread the screenplay, and what was magical and riveting about it would present itself all over again, and I consequently stayed completely committed to it. And it had to do with what I was just talking about, the fact that it resonates with the way our lives are. Our lives don't resolve. We don't have dualities, and then as in typical drama, it resolves in the end. There usually isn't resolution. Usually we live with states of contradiction, or sometimes two things that are oppositional are just true, as it is with the people in this film. So I believe that was the power of these characterizations and the power of this story. If you haven't seen the film, Enzo has had a family, since a second family, that Lara knows nothing about for the last 12 years, and she's just discovered it in a couple scenes prior, and this is the confrontation. For him, it's a liberation of sorts, because through the confession, the deception that's been going on ends, and for her, it's a final it's a condemnation, and that's the action of both actors moving in the scene.
It's a stunning-looking film. Maria, maybe you can tell us a little about capturing the look of this movie, the Bella Figura of Italy, and what went in to the research behind this process.
A ton of research, really, really a lot. And I know for Michael, it was so important to actually, you're talking about deep diving into character. That extends to the design as well, and that everything had to be completely accurate and really get a sense of the characters and how they live, and you had to be able to smell the textures. You had to be able to really believe you were in all those places and try to... There is actually an awful lot. We did so much visual research, a ton of stuff, and this whole period and all the racing stuff, there is so much visual research out there, and we must have found every single image that there was at the time, and we really looked at a lot of those images and sort of tried to be as true to the piece and as faithful to it as well.
Eric, the cars are almost, you know, a main character in this movie as well. There are some stunning set pieces and stunning moments of speed that are captured on screen. How did you go about capturing those practically? What were the main challenges for you in getting those high-speed moments and some of the tragic accidents that came about?
Well, you know, I think we started out talking about contrasting the film dramatically with these the inspiration of Italian Renaissance painting and portraiture, and how that shift from the kind of elegant simplicity of that world would contrast against the high energy, visceral nature of driving, you know. And Michael, it really, you know, we talked a lot about the character, the camera as a character, and getting the camera in the car so the audience feels really how treacherous this world was. You know, Michael's use of the camera, and he's, you know, he commands the frame, and it's you know, it's I mean, I think it's a signature, but it's you know, that for me that was a really interesting part about taking the kind of elegance of Italian northern aristocracy, and then shifting us into the car where it's, you know, it's gasoline and oil and dirt and wind, and, you know, the distinct two moments of the film.
It was such an epic journey, Michael, getting the movie to screen, as we've been describing. Once the cameras were rolling, was there anything in particular that came about that was a particular challenge to you during the making? What was it that you found?
the schedule was interesting. How many people have seen the film? One. Okay. It was a very tight schedule for a film of this scale. And one of the things I wanted, Maria did a spectacular job creating the verisimilitude and generating the experience of being in Modena, which is very, very specific, and being in that world and giving it a certain glow and a certain monotone, wonderful monotone of warmth to the film. And Eric's lighting is spectacular. And he happened to start as a gaffer, so he's facile with lights, and that's a rare talent today. There aren't that many DPs who move lights and truly paint with light the way Eric does. And but there weren't the film was pretty thoroughly prepared, so there weren't surprises except when people got COVID. That was a surprise because we wound up shooting whole scenes with people who really weren't there and doubles and then going back and picking them up again. But that's everybody who suffered through that during this period.
And you had buy-in from the Ferrari family, right? The family was on board.
Yeah, I've known Piero Ferrari, who was the illegitimate son that Lara is referring to in that scene, for probably 20 years. And his relationship with her, his relationship with his mother, Lena Lardi, who she was, and nothing is typical. Lena Lardi was not a mistress. She really was a second family. He was the son in waiting until he was embraced by his father and brought into the factory when he was 19. And it's very, very sensitive. I'm the beneficiary of a friendship and a tremendous amount of trust from Piero Ferrari in being able to tell this story because it's very personal to him, obviously.
You are known for your epics, and you had a great collaboration with Adam Driver in this movie. Last question, just what are the chances of you re-teaming with Adam on another epic going forward? We hear a lot about Heat 2, for example.
That may be in the offing, yes.
Maybe in the offing, Heat 2, is that the next kind of Michael Mann epic?
Yes, myself and Meg Gardner wrote a novel that came out right when we were shooting Ferrari called Heat 2 that did very well, and I plan to shoot that next.
With Adam?
Perhaps.
Perhaps.
We don't talk about that yet.
We'll see. You got a bit more...
We'll consider it this way. Adam and I got along like a house on fire. We got along great. We have the same work ethic, which is pretty, intense. And so we like each other, and we had a great time working together artistically.
Thank you very much indeed to all of you for being here today. And thank you all for being with us throughout the day to hear from all our great panelists. We really appreciate it.
Hey, thanks very much.